You guys were talking about Vagin. He did a wonderful job as a roam. He did get the 2 MVPs yesterday. His target was Flick, and he made sure that he was not able to get those lords, and he was just he had his goal, made sure that his team was able to do the damage, get in there, the major threat, and take that out. So wonderful play there by Entity7 for sure. Their strategy and their coach and just all, they're well-rounded. They've always been, and that's what made them, you know, the best here in the South, one of the best. So seeing these two teams go at it, let's see if Alpha7 can kind of figure it out and stop this reign that they got going here with the 2-game win streak right now. So far, they're gonna go ahead and ban out the Phoveus and the Boxia up first.
Yeah, it's kind of unfortunate that what happens a lot when I see grand finals or like the pinnacle of 2 very, very strong teams fighting is that one team will figure out that one ingredient that needs to happen to be able to take on the other team, and it kind of gives the impression that the other team is failing or that they're throwing or something like that. Here, they said Alpha7 is a strong team, and I don't think I've seen any other team able to come toe-to-toe with Entity7 the way that Alpha7 has, with the back and forth, and still be able to keep up the macro, keep up some of those objectives that we've been seeing here. It's just that, like we said before, especially for a team like Entity7, that even when you are having the best game throughout 90% of it, you're stomping them. What was the last score? I think it was like 12-4, and Entity7 somehow able to find themselves a win through that game as well. And that's something that you always need to be worried about, even when you're in the lead. Now we're talking at a point where Alpha7 has kind of lowered it to where you guys are on even ground. That's something that's even more dangerous for Entity7 or for Alpha7, because Entity7 is so good even when they're on their back foot. And here you haven't even been able to threaten them as much just yet.
Your team is
yeah, and especially when it comes to like these both teams, like we were talking before this broadcast, and Private was asking telling and talking about like some histories that we were able to see coming up here between these two teams, and Zena was talking about Vagin and his brilliant performance on the second game, and I believe that I was looking up from some facts and some data here coming out from Vagin. Vagin is a very experienced player. Like he's been through the scenario through many years so far. Oh, okay. We'll talk about that later, because
I wanted you to go on with the history. I didn't want to react because I love hearing about the history.
No, that's okay. Because it has to, because on one side you have Zunshin from Alpha7 and Fanny and I from Entity7. Man, this is gonna be a lot of chaos here on this third game so far.
Yeah. They seem like to let Zushin out. I think they kind of know how to deal with her. Didn't they do that as well against DreamMax? They let Zushin out. Yeah, so I feel like it's their strategic play because they know how to deal with it, you know? So, yeah, she couldn't be a terror on that field, but they seem to have found that ingredient to kind of take her out.
I have a feeling. Go on, Private. Go on.
I was gonna say yes against DreamMax, and no disrespect against DreamMax. They were an underdog team who performed exceptionally well to get to that level, to get to the third place here. Last time we saw Alpha7 and Entity7 face, I feel like there was a lot more respect paid to the Zushin. She didn't make it through a single draft because these people understand what they can go with. What's up, Rico?
Ruby.
Yeah, it'll catch up.
Ruby is gonna be the last banner here for Entity7. Watch my words. Mark my words here. Ruby. We saw this on MCT AMER North final. You know, where Fanny did not play a thing on the last game here. So, oh man, I think that is Ruby. Ruby's gonna be the last man here.
Your team is banning.
Because Eldora, they can use Eldora here. Besides, Zunshin is already on the mid lane here, for example. So
ask my fists
Your
first.
team is
No.
Well,
Sure,
Ruby
okay.
was used
Cho
in the
is, yeah.
gold lane.
okay.
That's a
So
good bet on their
and Cho
side.
makes more sense here too,
Yeah.
because I feel like Ruby doesn't do. You can counter the Fanny, but you also kind of have to deal with that in your lane. That it really has not had a great showing as far, and not to say too. That was a very dominating game in Alpha7 North, where the last game of the series they pulled out a Fanny. The enemy team pulled out a Fanny, and I feel like that was more of a desperation. Let me throw on my best. Like we saw yesterday from DreamMax, from King, who took out that Lance, and he did exceptional on that Lance. The team still lost, but that was still a great game that he played on his Lance there, and I feel like that was more the mindset of just like, let me pull out my best for them. Bruno on the side of Entity7. I'm just still shocked that we give up Zushin, and we have to be very, very confident about this draft, I guess.
No, I feel like Fanny can kind of like swoop in and kind of take her out, like if anything. So maybe that was their kind of plan there, and it's smart of them to take out Cho because that is a big counter for Fanny, kind of to take her out as well. So they went ahead and banned that. They picked up the Claude and Suyu here on Alpha7. Bruno for the side of Entity. See what they're gonna do here.
Yeah, so analyzing here like Zunshin's for Alpha7, and then Entity7 coming up with the Fanny here, like with this mobility, using the cables like to reach this backline to at least like trying to neutralize this Zunshin or Claude, for example. But Guinevere and Badang here for Alpha7. Okay, first of all, Guinevere on roaming and Badang on XP lane, or because we used to see Badang and roaming also, right?
Yeah,
so
it could be, who knows what it could be. It could be either or, for sure.
Yeah, because I don't see Guinevere on the XP lane here, to be honest. You know, like maybe there's a possibility, but I don't see Hassel playing with the Guinevere here. But when it comes to, especially to get this out initiation from Alpha7, you have Badang here on Hasu on the XP lane and Guinevere on Paquito. Okay, very nice. All right, let's go. Esmeralda from Akashi here on Entity7's lineup.
That is just a whole lot of CC on the side of Alpha7 right now. I'm kind of a little afraid. I know Fanny's pretty unpredictable and pretty slippery, but man, I think there's only Upatizi doesn't have like an entire kit build out of CC here, which might prove a little bit of a problem for Entity7. It's definitely going to be a problem for people like Akashi or Vagin, who are going to have to be the front line here and take most of that CC from the side of Alpha7. It's going to be a very interesting makeup here, and I'm very excited to see what Hide on Bush can do with this Fanny, especially against the composition that seems aimed to really take him down.
Yeah, so let's see what is going to happen here on game number 3 in this MCT AMER South Grand Final. Entity7 versus Alpha7. It is 2-0 for Entity7. Now it is time for Alpha7 to start a reaction here. So here we go, Private.
Yeah, very excited here. You can see both of these teams both of these junglers doing an even job when it comes to taking down their buffs here. We're going to see how this early game kind of develops, because the big thing for me is, as powerful as Fanny can be, there are a lot of boxes you need to check during objectives to have a successful game. You're really leaning on your team to get that vision so that they immediately sees Hesu gonna go ahead and die for him. But like, you're really leaning on your team to get that information to you so that you can go in when a jump comes out there and try to put the damage. Paquito has to flicker out. Hesu's gonna find a big push onto them.
Yeah, so here now Hide on Bush playing aggressively here to deny this farm to Alpha7. So one thing that here at Alpha7, I think that one of the situations that they can read is like, okay, they have a funny, so maybe we're trying to push some pressure or to trying to dominate somehow on the purple buff here to deny this win condition for Fanny, as we all know. Oh, here Doom versus Upatizi. Okay, so very interesting 1v1 here. It's Bruno versus Claude. Oh, we're gonna see here which is gonna have this advantage, but so far, oops, Upatizi, at least with the Dexter hologram here to like gain this position, he might have some advantage on this early game.
Well, you can already see the laning down at the bottom really going in favor of Entity7. Akashi having a great game on that Esmeralda. I'm not sure if he saw that flick went into that bush. So yeah, they're gonna have a 2v1 down at the bottom, but does look like Akashi really kind of pointing is able to kind of force them away. Paquito getting a little information from Entity7 is gonna go ahead and retreat back to this turtle that's being started by Alpha7.
Oh.
Big pop-up lands on the back end. Is that gonna be enough? You see that with Revitalizes out there, plus the cables coming out. The blazing duet on the backside. Hada and Bush is able to find the turtle, and Hesu able to find a kill onto Begin. Akashi able to take down the Alpha7 jungler. Now the fight continues here. A big fist crack coming out, followed by the pop-up. Now looking for the escape underneath the towers. Oh, Akashi might be in a little bit of trouble. Frostlane Eve bravely able to find a slam onto him in that lift up, but no worse for wear. 1-1 and a turtle for the side of Entity7.
Yeah, not only the turtle here, Private, but also so much gold energy on Doom on the gold lane, because Upatizi went to join the team fight here using the blazing duet to help the rest of the teammates, while Doom was like, okay, so much gold energy here for me. It's like so much a resource. And now the Has Claws here on Bruno's hand to cause this pressure here, to have this life steal situation to get more sustain on the gold lane. But once again here, from the last game that we saw, I talked about like to keep the eyes on Doom, and I believe that Akashi is going to have this protagonism here on this game number 3, because Esmeralda here, I believe that he's going to be very one of this resistance situation here. But not only that, but it's also to like handle things when these things get tough for Entity7. And you know, Esmeralda here like absorbing this shield, doing one of the front lines here to secure some situations for Entity7. It might be very interesting for them.
Yeah, you can see here a lot of pressure kind of mounting around mid. Evil Queller comes out, does catch Vagin, while Hide on Bush going to go ahead and work on this purple buff. 12 seconds till the next turtle here, right? You can see Akashi in a good position here. Hesu checking up on there, is not able to steal away that gold buff. Vagin taking some stacks from Frostlane Eve. Ooh, trying to get on the Shin, who's keeping just a great amount of distance on the side. Big fist crack underneath the tower. Hesu might be in trouble. Akashi finds the kill with the help of Hide on a Bush.
Yeah, so 2v1 here on the bottom lane, but now Hide on Bush heading on the back end so fastly here, heading on the turtle to secure and fight back this objective. Oh, here comes the jump.
Yeah, Violet Requiem comes out, followed up by the AOG coming out from the side of Entity7. Real world manipulation slammed down, and a little bit of a pickup there onto Akashi, but Hide on Bush very clearly able to pick up the turtle without hesitation and without reply from Alpha7.
Yeah, so here in the gold lane here, Doom forcing the blazing duet from Upatizi. It's gonna be, I believe it's gonna be tough for Alpha7 here, Private, because as we saw in the last team fight, Paquito using the jump here to trying to this ultimate and trying to neutralize someone, but Paquito as a roaming here and a Guinevere, like the Requiem Violet with this control, it is very it's a very positive situation, but at the same time it's not that fast to neutralize a player. So by the time that Paquito was using the jump and the Requiem Violet, immediately came the real world manipulation from Shin, and the damage was like casting and punishing Paquito and the rest of the players from Alpha7. So they have to pay attention about that situation. Oh, here comes.
Oh, and they keep missing Shin. They really are super thirsty for Shin, who's doing a great job of keeping that distance. Not just that, but we've talked over and over the last few weeks, when it comes to having a Guinevere on your team, there needs to be more than just the Violet Requiem to be able to do damage. Yes, it's a great control option. Yes, it does great damage in the early game. Ooh, big fist rat comes out, but Doom able to find his way out. But there needs to be a secondary source of damage from one of your teammates. And right now we don't really have a big source there. Hide on bush, able to find the tower. Now Doom putting on the damage. Hesu in trouble. Big pickup. Doom might be down. Frostlane Eve able to find a kill there to pick up on the back end. On the backside, a big falling star moon. Hide on bush, looking underneath the tower, looking for the cutthroat. Is going to be able to find a kill onto Paquito. Hesu now down at the hands of a Shin. Now the rest of Entity7 looking for the escape.
And I'll tell you here, Private, it could be very worse. Oh, Frost Lanevi completely lost here versus 3 players. 1 more kill for Entity7. And I'll tell you, Private, it could be worse for Alpha7 if they haven't beaten a Doom here on the dive on the top side. So Doom was out, but still, like, Entity7 was able to respond back this initiation. Now, 1 more turtle for Entity7. The 3rd one for the team from Chile. The goal lead here, like, heading for more than 3k, and Paquito once again not hitting someone with the jump of Guinevere.
Yeah, and I feel like this composition from the side of Alpha7, yes, you have a great amount of CC, but the damage, especially in the early game, just is not there. You have Flick, I want to say, is probably the only real source of damage right now, and I think the only thing he has right now is a Sky Piercer. We're really waiting for Upatizi to come online, get those 3 items he needs. Meanwhile, Entity7 just have a huge amount of damage that they can dish out there. Now, Frostlane Eve gonna have to back up. Paquito backing up from the side of Akashi and Vagin coming in. Shin and Hide on Bush looking for an angle to possibly find themselves a little bit of blood here. Now they're gonna go on to Paquito.
Paquito.
In comes the cutthroat from Hide on Bush.
Yeah, so Paquito was taken down here once again. And now here comes the 2nd tower on the top lane for Entity7. Man, 1 more game here. Entity7 has this advantage, playing so aggressive once again. And now with Fanny. Oh, here comes.
Yeah, AOG comes out onto the back lines, and Frostlane Eve looking for an escape. Hesu trying to fend them off with that fist crack. Flick able to find the kill on the Hide on Bush, but Doom able to find the tower. Flick finds himself a double. Shin in trouble, gets taken out by Upatizi. They do have an answer back. 4 down for the side of Entity7. Akashi by himself trying to fight off and fend off the team of Alpha7, eventually falls.
Here comes the maniac from Flick here of Alpha7. A completely wipeout here on Entity7. And now the Lord easily free for Alpha7 to get back in the game, my friend Private. Everything is tied up once again.
Yeah, and I was just talking about how the only real source of damage is coming from Flick and eventually Upatizi. Flick, eventually, I mean, with all of that CC, was finally able to get in a good position to get down Hide on Bush, and just 1 by 1 able to find the other members of Entity7 with that immense damage coming out from that Tsuyo. Now has Entity7 a little bit on the back foot, trying to fend off for this tier 2 tower. The whole of Alpha7 trying to mount a lot of pressure there as Lord coming through the mid lane.
Yeah, so here comes the Lord. All right, I think that he's heading for the mid side, on the mid lane here now, on tower number 2. So here they come. Alpha7 now has this advantage to try to at least take the high ground towers left for Entity7. Here we go.
well. You see the split push being done right now by Hide on Bush. It has to be answered immediately. Flick gonna go in there trying to find the damage, and you see the cabling away is Hide on Bush. He might get caught there by Hesu, who is able to find the cables to get away. That good clear there for the side of Entity7. Alpha7 now pushing these towers. I think they're basically tied when it comes to the towers. You have all of the high grounds there and just one more tier 2 on the side of Entity7. Now coming in, placing duet is out. Hide on Bush looking for a little bit of distance. Real world manipulation comes out. Akashi misses the falling star moon. Big AOG comes out there as well. Vagin gets caught, lifted up. The rest, Akashi and Shin on the backside, are forced to stare. In comes Flick with the kill onto Vagin. Purify comes out from Akashi so he doesn't get lifted up, and Flick able to come in looking for the purple buff, but Hide on Bush was right there to be able to retry it down.
Akito was a monster now, because by the time that Vagin did the avatar of the Guardian, he made the jump. So by the time that Gato Chacha landed on the map, here comes right the jump here to neutralize Gato Chacha here, and it worked so well for Alpha7. So one player down for Entity7. Goal lead here. Okay, not so big for Alpha7, but still, if you see in the map, it seems much more when it comes to this advantage. So Alpha7 now has to control this pace, has to playing clever here to not to let any other chances for Entity7 to get back in this game, especially with Hide on Bush playing on funny to get more resources here, get more kills to secure another Lord.
Yeah, right now, basically a tie, a game for both. Towers just narrowly on the side of Alpha7, who have the momentum at their side. A great positioning on the Lord as the rest of Entity7 looks to possibly come in. Hide on Bush on the opposite side of the map, so that's going to go ahead and tell Alpha7 to go ahead and try to push their advantage. Flick able to find himself this Lord, and an immediate disengage. The smart play coming out from Alpha7 to get the objective. That's all they needed. They didn't need the kills. They do have the breathing room that comes with a Northern Lord push.
Yeah, and I believe that it comes to a point of the game that Fanny is I think that Fanny is not gonna do much here on this situation, because it comes to a map domination. It comes to this controlling sides here for Alpha7, and especially when the most of the players are getting stronger, as we saw now the Blade of Despair on Alpha7's jungler. But here comes, because Alpha7 are causing this pressure.
Yeah, you're going to see the charge coming in from the Lord. It's going to drop the high ground tower down to about mid. Hide on Bush actually took a decent amount of damage. Had to go back to base very quickly. Now, mounting down at the bottom, you can see some minions now coming in through mid, trying to make use of these high ground towers. Entity7 still able to defend against that push.
Yeah, so Entity7 here now still with the high ground towers standing, but very injured, especially the mid and the top side ones. But even though Entity7 is still in the game, besides this advantage on the goal lead here from Alpha7, and we are heading for a point of the game which this goal lead is not gonna matter anymore, because of the players is gonna be on full build. But still, Alpha7 dominating these sides, dominating these minion waves here to controlling this vision, to controlling this information all the time here for Entity7. It is very nice for Paquito to use the jump. Oh, it is very nice too. Oh, for us on even when Vagin. Oh.
Yeah, Vagin might be in a little bit of trouble. You can use the AOG, does latch onto one person. Hide on Bush, able to find the jungler in the back lane, but Upatizi able to take down Shin. Hesu looking for the damage as Akashi, taking on 3 members of Alpha7. Falling Star Moon falls on the 3 members. Hide on Bush looking to come in. He gets hit with the fist crack, put against the wall, while Vagin on the front end trying to fend off this push. Akashi comes in with the damage being pushed there. Frostlane Eve able to finally find the kill onto Vagin. Down goes Akashi. 3 down for the side of Entity7. Alpha7 with the momentum at their heels.
Yeah, so after a very hard team fight here, once again, Alpha7 leading the advantage, taking down 3 players for Entity7. When it all appeared here to be like to be very bad for Alpha7, they reversed that situation once again. And Hesu, what a monster, using the ultimate here to neutralize this Entity7's chasing down of the rest of the players. Frost and Evo was like neutralized very fast on the back line here, but still Alpha7 having the peace and the calm and the resilience here to manage and taking the players out on Entity7. Now the Lord once again secured by Alpha7. They have to try to finish this game now.
Man, what happens to Entity7 at game 3? Every single time they have struggled, even at the dominance in the first 2 games. Hide on Bush on the side as Alpha7 and Entity7 clash. Real world manipulation is down. Begin finds a kill on the Frost lane. Eve. Now Doom finds one onto Hesu. 2 down for the side of Alpha7, who are now looking to disengage. Paquito on the run, being chased by Akashi and the rest of the team. Doom putting the boots down onto Alpha7 now. Entity7 gonna have to answer this Lord. Evil Queller comes out from Flick. Paquito finds a recall back to base. 3 members here to defend this base as they focus down on the tier 2 tower. Meanwhile, Hide on Bush gonna take the minions up at the bottom lane. Ooh, going in. Paquito trying to find himself a pop-up, does not get it. Minions are down. Doom able to find a kill onto Paquito, taking down the minions as Shin lays down some damage for the rest of the team.
Alpha7, you got the Lord. Okay, you were like you were going to the jungle, you were going to enemy jungle to get this information, to get this vision. Okay, but why heading from the purple buff here, like to have this aggressiveness here on this game? But now you lead like Entity7 to get back in this game once again. At least they didn't lose the high ground tower here on the mid lane. It is like a very good point for Alpha7, but still now Entity7 taking a chance and opportunity to this confidence to once again play an aggressive. Oh, Flick on the bottom lane, but okay, Upatizi default, like he returned the damage so well here on Flick.
Yeah, and you see now minions. This whole game right now, I feel like this is going to be a game of macro. Can we get the pressure of these lanes pushing into the towers while also having a fight? Right now, Hide on Bush is like the sole split pusher for the side of Entity7. His whole job is to try to clear out those lanes and then get back to the fight. The only problem is when it comes to these Lord engagements, Hide on Bush can choose one thing: get to the Lord or be able to clear out these side lanes. He has not been able to do both just yet because Alpha7 has been doing such a great job of finding these pushes, of being able to take down these objectives so quickly.
Yeah, but now here comes once again here Alpha7 Flick. Oh, they have to take care here from Entity7's initiation. Okay, I believe that Alpha7, there was one more thing that Alpha7 has to like keep an eye on, especially when there's Entity7's condition on team fight, because when it comes to Esmeralda ultimate, for example, and the real world manipulation, to call this like this little slow down here, like it takes the chance for Entity7 to start a team fight, especially with the avatar of the Guardian on Vagin. So Vagin here had this this ultimate like working in a positive way for Entity7. It might like turning point for Entity7 here versus Alpha7. Now here one more Lord, both teams with the 5 players. It's gonna be more than a macro. It's gonna be a chess play here from these 2 teams, because it might be the last Lord here for both teams to finish this game.
Yeah, especially I want to say they're looking out for Frost Lane Eve on the side of Entity7. They really want to be able to get that down. This all relies on them being able to protect Frost Lane Eve and Flick, the jungler, for this fight, to make sure that they can continually have that suppressing power when it comes to a lot of these fights. Now Akashi again in the front side, Doom sitting there lying in wait. If Alpha7 has a target, it should be Doom to be able to take him down. 50% now down on the Lord. Entity7 trying to push their way forward as well. Paquito from the backside, down comes the real world manipulation. Avatar the Guardian misses onto 3 members, and now Akashi getting pushed by that fist crack. Back in, using that revitalize as Hide on Bush finds The fight begins. Alpha7 clashing into Entity7. Shin gets taken out by Flick. Doom down as well. Upatizi able to find it. Flick finds a kill of his own. 2 more left on the side of Entity7, running for the hills. Akashi trying to drag out this fight as long as possible. The Lord is still on the side of Entity7, but the numbers are in favor of Alpha7, who find themselves a complete team wipe, and they will not go down in a clean sweep due to Entity7 and find themselves their first victory of the series.
Alpha7 coming from the ashes like a phoenix to win the game number 3. We have a best of 7. We have a final here, Zena.
Now, yes, this is a final here. That mid-game wipe on Entity7 had Alpha7 able to kind of like get back on the map here, and they were able to give that pressure and kind of fight back. And then Upatizi getting his power spike, it was amazing to watch it all go down here. This is what I love about ML, the fact that, you know, it could be anybody's game and it could turn things around just like that.
Yeah, a great game for Alpha7 to withstand the early pressure coming on from Entity7 here. So take a look there. Frostlane, Eve 2 and 10. Upatizi with 5, 0, and 9. A great job by Alpha7 to kind of elongate that early game. Give Upatizi the chance he needed to. Sitting here, even with all the deaths happening on the side of Alpha7, Upatizi always remaining calm. 5, 0, and 9 for him to really be able to put on the damage on the side of Entity7.
Yeah, so very tight up here. Third game is still heading for Alpha7, especially with this resilience coming out from these players. Flake playing very well here on Suyo, and Upatizi with the Cloud. Even though like with so much pressure on the goal lane here caused by Doom and Bruno, so Patizi was able to like, okay, we have to calm down and wait for the right moment. And the right moment came by the time that Entity7 like were too deep on the mid lane and lost all the players in I would say that so unusual coming out from Entity7, but in a time that they were not disciplined here on the mid lane, losing all the players in the process. But by the time like at this point of the game, like Entity7 and Alpha7 like playing very tight on the goal lane here. We're seeing like, especially when it comes to Flake, like using a Fanny very nicely on the early game, especially like neutralizing on the XP lane. But still, I don't believe it was that. I think that it was that moment that Entity7 like were too deep and lost all the players in the process. I'm not sure, but Alpha7 was like still waiting for the right moment. I believe it was that in that moment here. So Entity7 like Alpha7 was still with the tower number 1 in the mid lane, and Entity7 was like making a dive on the tower number 2. I didn't get it, to be honest here, but still like Alpha7 has nothing to do with that. They got a wipeout. They went through it. They trying to dominating this pace so far, and then they came that like cursed team fight on the purple buff after securing the Lord for Alpha7. So they went to the purple buff. Entity7 responded so well, like guarantee I believe it was like 4 players for Alpha7, heading back the game for Entity7 once again. After that, I believe it was like a chess move here coming out from both teams, especially on the Lord, and Upatizi working so well on the position situation here to avoid this damage coming out from Sheen and Doom, for example, and also causing this damage with the Blazing Duet, waiting for the right time from this games here. So we hear the last Lord here. So I believe that Iron Bush, I believe that was the purpose was not to getting this Lord on reset here, which gave Alpha7 the chance to respond so well here. Besides Entity7 getting this Lord, but Alpha7 and Hasu once again with the ultimate here, like to stun and taunt 2 players on Entity7. It was really good for Alpha7 here, and getting not only the team fight here, but also the victory in this game number 3.
Yes, and when the game was on the line, this player delivered in a spectacular fashion. Our MVP here, Upatizi, getting that power spike, 509 KDA, 82.7k total damage, 769 gold per minute. An amazing play at the end of the game. He had the comeback.
I want to say too, when it comes to this team, I mean, we're probably not going to see a highlight from the first 50% of the game, because I feel like Upatizi put his head down, hunkered down, and understood I need to farm. I need to get these 3 items. I just don't pay attention to what's going on with the rest of the team, understand where my power spike comes in, and then he can start taking part in a lot of these fights. And they did such a great job of kind of holding off that from the beginning, taking advantage of a lot of the mistakes that I want to say the few mistakes that Entity made, especially like you were talking about, diving underneath a tier 2 tower while tier 1 is still up. Man, that I'm gonna tell you, there's some confidence that you have to do that to a team, and I want to say Alpha7 punished them for it, able to give Upatizi enough time to really start coming online, get all the items that he needed. Not just that, but in the chaos of the matches, I wonder if we're gonna see the one I'm thinking of, where he goes into the Lord Pit, deep into the Lord Pit. Yeah, here he goes into the Lord Pit, then finds Doom and is able to chase down Doom onto the backside.
Oh yeah, so Upatizi here like working so well on this Blazing Duet, and this